Hello there. I've wanted to do an It Gets Better video for quite a while, but I wanted to make sure that I said something you haven't already heard. And I'm sure in a way that you've probably heard this. You know, when you're in grade school and high school, the classes are really crowded and the halls are really crowded and kids are texting mean things to each other. And I think that's when it's really the hardest. It's so hard to get through high school especially. Well, even grade school. Gosh, there's some bullying in grade school. So it does get better when you get into college because things are more spread out. People are kind of doing their own things. They've grown up a little bit. It gets better. And then it gets even better in most cases because especially if you're still single, you know, you can go just about anywhere and get a job. If it doesn't work out, go somewhere else. If you don't like those friends, make some other friends. You have some freedom to move around. You have some freedom to experiment with different things until you find your niche. So it does get better as time goes on. But I have a feeling you already know that. So I thought I'd share something else with you that might be new. A friend of mine who went to my high school and her husband who also went to my high school, they're on Facebook and they share photos and they have this 12-year-old boy that is so good looking. He has the biggest smile in the world and they're really doing well. They have a boat and this boy loves to water ski and he loves to draw and he's just got everything. He's got a terrific life. The only thing that I'm not telling you is that I'm really kind of talking in the past. He killed himself at 12 years of age, and he would be 21 now. And the parents' posts are still just so filled with heartache. It's just, they never get over it. It's something that a parent never gets over. But I'm sure that you've heard stories like this. If you're you know, I'm kind of aiming this toward homosexuals and lesbians, but I understand that Asians get bullied a lot, and lots of kids get bullied. So if anybody who is out there who's gotten bullied can take anything from this video, take it, you know, if I've got anything that will be useful. But, you know, since you've probably heard about those kinds of things, I'll show you somebody else. Here's someone. Do you recognize this person? Looks like she has a lot of confidence, doesn't she? Yes, that's my daughter. She was bullied a good share of her life, a real good share of her life. Now, it's certainly not as bad as what some of you are going through, certainly. But even from the time she was little, if she made a friend, somebody would try to take the friend away. People would blame things on her. I think it's partly because she was kind of little, maybe. I don't know, or just, I don't know, they saw somebody they could try to take advantage of, I think. And what really hurt the most was when I would see people talking over her head and pretending like she wasn't there, talking about party plans that she wasn't invited to. They just ignored her a lot, and it was really hard. And you know, she did do some crying, I have to say, and she did get down. But fortunately, I was there. You may not have somebody, like your parents might be busy with other kids, or they might be busy working different hours, and we can't monitor you every second. So sometimes you just have to pull yourself up. Like, you can be sad and you can cry, have some down times, but it'll be up to you to kind of set a limit on it and say, okay, now it's time to get strong, you know, time to bounce back. That's what I always tried to stress to her, was to bounce back. And I also tried to keep her busy with different things and develop her talents. And of course, she did become a really good runner, and people did take notice of that. The bullying didn't stop just because of that. And she also was very artistic. But the interesting thing, and this is, I'm getting to a point that I want to make. When she got into 12th grade, a lot of the other kids got a little more mature. And when it came time to vote for Miss Flex, you know, she was in a contest, but the kids voted. She got Miss Flex. That's for being like having the best muscle, the best arm muscle. She got Miss Flex. And then when it was time to vote for Homecoming Queen, she got Homecoming Queen. We were shocked. We were all just shocked. But I think kids just, honestly, I almost think that they said, let's vote for her because she isn't the typical girl that's always on it. You know, they voted for somebody that was kind of like them, you know, somebody quirky, somebody different. And so my point is, your life can change in an instant. It can change. It's not a guarantee that it's always going to be bad or anything or hard. It can change. Now I have a couple more points that I want to make and that I think will be helpful. I want to show you this person here. Let's take a look. Oh, no, not Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. You know him. What about this fellow here? Do you know who this is? No, you probably don't. This is Fred Shuttlesworth. He marched with Dr. King almost all of the marches, but he never really got any recognition at all. In fact, he was one of the ones who organized the marches, He did a lot of the background things, and he was always there. But no, he didn't get the recognition. But he died at age 89 after fighting his whole life. Now, I'll show you a picture of him a little later on. Let's see. There we go. There he was. What really amazed me about Fred Shuttlesworth is that he did fight for civil rights his entire life. Now, think about it. He was a black man in the 50s and 60s living in the South. So you know that there was a lot of hatred toward him. You know that there was name-calling. There was a lot of things. He even was beaten by chains. He tried to put his daughter in an all-white school, and people came after him and beat him with chains. Some of these marches, he was one of those. If you've ever seen where the police, was it policemen or firefighters? I think it was policemen. Anyway, somebody came after the protesters with hoses. He was one of them that got hosed and ended up in the hospital from the force of that water power. He was arrested. He doesn't even know how many times. It was between 30 and 40 times. Fred Shuttlesworth had his house blown up while he was in it. Somebody put 6 sticks of dynamite around his house, and he was in bed and actually got blown out of the bed. This guy, I don't think he ever thought about giving up. And that's one thing that I really want to stress to you is, if it enters your mind, because it enters every single person's mind at some point, oh, you know, my life's so miserable, I just want to end it all. It enters, but just brush it right aside. Don't ever take it seriously, okay? I think that's the best advice I can give, is just to not take that thought seriously and keep going. Look what Fred Shuttlesworth accomplished. I mean, he was right there with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and they really brought things around for civil rights, and that opened the door for gays and lesbians. It's opened the door for so many people to have equal rights. Now, do I expect you to have to fight your whole life for civil rights? No, not at all. You're not obligated. Just because you're homosexual doesn't mean you have to fight. The only thing you have to do is be a person, be a good person, and live your life to the best that you can. And the reason I'm telling you that it gets better, and it's going to get better, is because there are tons of people, just like me, normal people, who will have your back, who will go out there and fight for you, who now, you know, I started out kind of weak in things, but now I'm not going to tolerate discrimination, and I'm not going to tolerate homophobic language whatsoever. And yes, we are going to make it better. People all across the world are coming to their senses so that life will get better for you. So just do your best, and I expect you to live past age 89.